The last chance Jaden sat alone at the back of the class. His head was down. The alien students whispered and laughed. He could feel their eyes on him, judging, mocking. It was another failed test, another red mark on his report. And this time, there were no second chances. He was the only human in the Galactic Academy, a place built among the stars where young minds from 100 planets came to learn. But Jaden was failing. In everything. Combat class, failed language test, failed starship. Mechanics, broken again. Even basic energy reading, wrong every time. The principal had already warned him. One more failure, Jaden, and you're out. This is your final week. Jaden walked out of the lecture hall with heavy steps. The other students moved away as if his failure was contagious. Some even called him names: soft worlder, Earth, meat, dumb ape. He said nothing. As he passed through the glowing crystal hallway, he heard a voice. Jaden. It was soft, calm, yet powerful. He turned. It was Professor Alira, the alien teacher, with silver skin and glowing white eyes. Her long robes floated slightly above the ground. She was different from the others. She never laughed, never shouted. But she always watched. I need to speak with you, she said. Jaden looked around. About what, Professor? She didn't answer. She simply turned and walked down the corridor. Jaden followed without question. They walked deep beneath the academy. The halls became darker, cold. The lights dimmed as if they feared what lay below. At last, they stopped at a sealed door with strange symbols carved into its surface. Alira placed her hand on the door. It scanned her palm. With a slow hum, it opened. Inside was a chamber unlike anything Jaden had ever seen. Blue light floated in the air like mist. The floor was made of living stone. And in the center stood a large crystal table with alien markings. Pulsing softly. What is this place? Jaden asked. Alira looked at him with unreadable eyes. This is where true learning begins, Jaden blinked. I don't understand. She moved closer. You are failing, Jaden. But not because you are weak. You were simply taught in the wrong way. Your brain is different. It learns through experience, not memory. He frowned. That doesn't help. I only have 1 week left before I'm sent back to Earth. I know, she said. Which is why I'm making you an offer, but it comes with a warning. Jaden stepped closer. What kind of offer? She placed her hand on the crystal table. The lights grew brighter. Suddenly, strange images filled the air: warriors fighting, alien worlds burning, spaceships flying into black holes, and symbols moving faster than thought. This table, Alira said, can teach you through direct transfer. It will upload knowledge straight into your mind. No books, no practice, just pure learning. Jaden's eyes widened. That sounds like cheating. It's not cheating, she replied. It's ancient, forbidden, and dangerous. Jaden hesitated. Why me? Because, Alira said quietly, your mind is compatible. Out of 1,000 species, only humans can take in knowledge like this without going mad. But too much, too fast. And you may lose yourself. Jaden felt his heart racing. And what if I say yes? Then we begin tonight. I will train you in secret. You will not speak of this to anyone. You will follow every command. And in 1 week, if you succeed, you will be allowed to stay. And if I fail, you'll forget everything. Or worse. Jaden looked at the floating lights. They danced like stars calling to him. He thought of Earth, of going home in shame, of his mother's disappointed face, of all the aliens laughing at him forever. He clenched his fists. I accept. Alira's eyes flashed. Then sit. Place your hands here. He moved to the table and placed his palms on the crystal. Alira chanted something in a language he didn't understand. The lights shifted. A warm current ran through his fingers. Then suddenly pain, sharp, blinding. Jaden screamed out. Images filled his mind so fast he couldn't stop them. Symbols burned into his vision. Equations, languages, battle techniques, ancient history. All at once, then silence. Jaden fell back, gasping. Alira knelt beside him. That was only 1%. Jaden's eyes were wide. His voice shook. "What did you just do to me?" Alira stood slowly. "I gave you your first lesson." She looked at him with something close to pride. "But remember, Jaden, this path cannot be undone." Jaden lay on the ground, breathing hard, and yet, for the first time he understood something. He wasn't failing anymore. He was just beginning. Ready for part 2? Let me know, and I'll continue with the next 800 words in the same style. Jaden couldn't sleep that night. His hands still tingled. From the crystal table, the memory of the energy flowing through him, the images flashing in his mind, kept returning again and again. It wasn't like reading or hearing something. It was feeling knowledge as if it had always been inside him, but it wasn't peaceful. He had a dream, a vision. He stood on a battlefield, wearing black armor that glowed with blue veins. Alien enemies charged at him. He raised his hand, and light shot from his fingers, burning the sky. And then he looked into a mirror and saw someone else's face. Jaden woke with a start, breathing fast. That wasn't his memory. The next day, he walked into his normal class like nothing had happened, but everything had changed. The words on the holoboard looked easier. He understood the alien symbols before the teacher even explained them. His hand moved faster during notes. He even corrected a mistake the professor made, and the entire class stared at him in silence. After class, Alira didn't say a word. She simply gave him a look and walked away. He followed. They moved quickly through the academy halls, past students, guards, and other teachers. Nobody questioned them. She led him down the same dark stairs again, past glowing roots and old metal walls, to the secret door with alien symbols. This time, it opened before she touched it. The chamber was still glowing, but now the lights had changed color, deep purple and soft gold. On the walls, new patterns had appeared, like the room itself was waking up. Jaden stepped inside. "What is this place, really?" Alira turned to him. "This is a memory vault. It holds the thoughts and knowledge of my ancestors. Warriors, scientists, pilots, kings. All of them poured part of their minds into this crystal." Jaden walked slowly around the table. "So when I touch it, you're borrowing their wisdom," she said. "For a short time, but last night I had dreams. Someone else's life. I felt like I was becoming someone else." Alira paused. "That is the cost. If you take in too much, their memories can drown your own." Jaden looked nervous. "And you still think I can handle it?" Alira gave a slow nod. "I believe you're strong, but now we must move faster. Time is short." She waved her hand, and a new part of the chamber revealed itself. The walls pulled back, revealing a second platform, this one floating, surrounded by small glowing spheres. "This is where you learn by doing," she said. "Not just reading minds, but entering simulations." Jaden stepped up to the platform. "Simulations? You'll live through real moments of history," she said. "You'll face what they faced, fight what they fought." Jaden swallowed hard. "And if I die in the simulation?" "You won't die," she said. "But the pain is real, and the fear." Jaden looked at her. Her face was calm, but there was something behind her eyes. She wasn't telling him everything. Still, he nodded. "Let's do it." Alira raised her hand. The spheres floated toward Jaden, circling his head. They hummed, and then dashed darkness. The world around him disappeared. Suddenly, he was somewhere else. Jaden stood on a frozen planet. The sky was green. Giant beasts with crystal hides charged toward a small alien village. He was holding a staff, no, a weapon. He didn't know how he knew, but he spun it perfectly, deflecting one of the beasts with sharp precision. He fought. He ran. He shouted orders in an alien tongue. Villagers followed him. And when the battle was done, he stood over the fallen creature, breathing hard. The simulation faded. Jaden dropped to his knees, his body hurt. His chest was tight, but he was alive, Illyra's voice echoed. You fought as Commander Dalther of the Ice Wars. Jaden opened his eyes slowly. That was real. She helped him to his feet. Yes, and now that memory is part of you. Jaden looked down at his hands. They didn't feel like just his anymore. How many more of these do I have to do? He asked. As many as it takes, she answered. You must grow fast. The Academy Council is already watching you. They don't like what they see. Jaden blinked. Why? They see a human changing, she said quietly. And they fear change. Jaden stood in silence. Part of him wanted to stop, to run, to go back to Earth, but another part, the part that now knew how to fight, how to lead, how to think like a galactic commander, that part was growing stronger. He looked at the table. The lights pulsed. Like it was calling him again. He stepped forward. I'm ready, he said. Illyra gave a rare smile. Then we continue. And the lights swallowed him once more. Jaden sat in the classroom, eyes locked on the glowing board at the front. Symbols danced across the screen, complex formulas from alien physics that even advanced students struggled with. But not Jaden. Not anymore. As the teacher explained. A theory about dark matter tunnels. Jaden raised his hand without even thinking. Excuse me, Professor Morn, he said calmly. Your energy calculation is off by 3.6 units. The flux should be regulated through a trivector field, not a dual one. Otherwise, the tunnel would collapse before stabilization. The room went silent. Everyone turned. Even the teacher froze. Professor Morn blinked twice, checking his own notes. Then he checked again. That's correct, the old alien said, clearly surprised. Very advanced. Jaden simply nodded. But he felt dozens of alien eyes boring into him. Not with awe. Not with respect. With suspicion. After class, the hallways buzzed. That human couldn't even read 6 weeks ago. He's cheating. Maybe he hacked the crystal net. No, it's something else. Something wrong. Jaden walked faster, keeping his head down. But the whispers followed. He found Illyra waiting by the garden dome. Her silver skin shimmered in the sunlight, and her calm gaze met his. They're talking, Jaden said softly. They think I'm using illegal tech. They fear what they do not understand, Illyra replied. And fear becomes anger. I didn't do anything wrong, he said. No, she agreed. You did something extraordinary. Jaden let out a sigh. Then why do I feel like I'm in danger? Illyra didn't answer. Instead, she handed him something, a tiny silver disc. What's this? He asked. A translator. Put it in your ear, now. Jaden obeyed. The moment he clicked it into place, the world changed. He could suddenly hear everything, not just Galactic Standard, but the quiet conversations happening all around the Academy. In dozens of languages. That's when he heard it. He's dangerous. He's not normal. We should test him. Remove him before he becomes a problem. The council must be told. Jaden's stomach turned. They want to get rid of me. Illyra nodded. Because you've become more than they expected. And that scares them. Just then, the loudspeaker chimed. All students report to the combat training dome in 1 hour. Surprise ranking test. Jaden frowned. I thought combat evaluations weren't for another month. They're forcing you into the arena, Illyra said darkly, to expose you or break you. Jaden's hands curled into fists. Let them try. The combat dome was massive, like a stadium floating inside a blue energy bubble. Students filled the seats. Teachers and officers stood on high platforms, watching from above. And in the center was the challenge circle, metal floor, spinning traps, and energy barriers. Jaden stood at one end. His opponent stepped forward from the other side. It was Varnek, a four-armed Zenthian warrior known for crushing students in practice duels. His skin was red and armored. His eyes burned with hatred. Jaden's heart pounded, but his face stayed calm. A hologram buzzed to life above the arena. 1 round, no weapons. Winner by knockout or submission. Varnek cracked his knuckles. You've been acting like a genius lately, human. Let's see if your fists are as smart as your mouth. Jaden didn't reply. He didn't need to. The signal rang. The match began. Varnek charged, fast and brutal. Jaden dodged left, slid under his swipe, and struck with perfect precision right in a weak point under the Zenthian's lower ribs. The alien grunted in pain but kept coming. Jaden's mind raced, not with fear, but with memory. Turn, sweep, duck, strike the nerve cluster. He moved like a trained warrior. Not someone who had just learned a week ago, but someone who had fought battles across worlds. And maybe he had. Through the simulations, the crowd gasped as Jaden flipped over Varnak's back and kicked him straight into the wall. The alien staggered, dazed. Jaden waited. Varnak roared and charged again. He leapt high. Jaden didn't move. At the last second, he ducked low, spun around, and struck the back of Varnak's knee, sending the massive alien crashing down. A second later, Jaden had him in a lock. His arms around the Zenthian's neck, legs braced. Varnak tapped out. Silence filled the arena. Then, match over. Human wins. Jaden stood slowly. His chest rose and fell. His eyes scanned the crowd. Half were stunned. The other half were afraid. Up on the platform, the Academy Council members looked at each other, whispering quickly. Alira watched from a distance, her face calm but unreadable. Jaden stepped off the platform. He didn't smile, he didn't even speak, but something had changed. He had proven himself. And now he was a threat. As he passed the whispering students, one voice cut through the crowd. He's not one of us anymore. And in his mind, Jaden heard the echo of that alien voice from his first simulation. The day you win their battles is the day they fear you the most. Jaden stood alone in the locker room. The cold light above flickered. His body still hurt from the duel with Varnak, but his mind wouldn't rest. Not because of the fight, but because of the looks he saw afterward. Those weren't the looks of defeat or jealousy. They were the looks of fear. He pulled his academy uniform shirt over his shoulder and stared into the mirror. His eyes, once a dull brown, now had a faint blue glow. Barely visible, but real. His fingers twitched without thinking, tracing old combat moves in the air. Something inside him was changing, something not fully human anymore. Just then, the door opened. Alira walked in, calm as ever, holding a black coat in her arms. "Put this on," she said softly. Jaden took it. The fabric was smooth, warm, and strange. It shimmered like metal but folded like cloth. "It's a phase cloak," she explained. "It helps you pass unseen." Jaden raised an eyebrow. "Are we hiding now?" Alira nodded. "The council has ordered a scan of your memories. They want to know how a failing student beat a Zenthian warbreed in under 5 minutes." Jaden stiffened. "They'll find out everything about you, the crystal table, the vault." Alira placed a hand on his shoulder. "That's why we must leave, now." Jaden hesitated, then followed. They moved quickly through old service tunnels beneath the academy. These tunnels hadn't been used in years. Pipes hissed. Lights flickered. The walls had mark scratches, burn lines, alien graffiti. Jaden whispered, "Where are we going?" "To the original training site." Alira replied, "Before the academy was built. Before humans were even allowed in this sector." Jaden glanced at her. "You've been planning this for a long time, haven't you?" Alira didn't answer. Instead, she stopped at a wall and pressed a hidden panel. The ground rumbled. A platform descended, taking them deep underground, far below any student was allowed to go. When the platform stopped, They stepped out into a giant stone hall that it looked ancient. Tall pillars lined the room. In the center, floating above a carved stone circle, was another crystal, this one black and glowing with green veins. Jaden's breath caught. This isn't like the other one. No, Alira said. This one is much older. It holds not just knowledge, but experience. Jaden turned toward her. Why are you showing me this? Because you must be ready, she said. The council will come for you, and when they do, you must be more than a student. You must be a leader. Jaden shook his head. But I'm not a leader. I'm just— No, she interrupted. You were just a failing student. But now, you carry centuries of memory, skill, wisdom. You are becoming something greater. He looked down. Then why am I still so scared? Alira's voice softened. Because you still care. Jaden stepped onto the stone circle. What happens now? You enter the trial. He frowned. Trial, she nodded. The ancient test. Few survive, but those who do command armies. Jaden took a deep breath. Let's begin. The world twisted. Heat, noise, pain. Jaden opened his eyes and stood in the middle of a burning jungle. Smoke filled the sky. Explosions rocked the ground. Alien screams echoed through the trees. He wore battle armor, a rifle in his hand. His squad alien warriors looked to him for orders. Commander, what do we do? He didn't think. He remembered. Set traps behind the ridge, he barked. Divide into flanks. Ambush formation Delta 4. They obeyed without question. The enemy came, giant spider-like machines with plasma claws. Jaden fought without fear. He moved through the fire like he had lived there all his life. Hours passed in minutes. Blood, sweat, death. At the end, his squad survived. He stood atop a broken war machine, sword raised. Then the vision ended. Jaden collapsed on the cold stone floor, shaking. Alira knelt beside him. You passed. His eyes were wide. That wasn't a memory. It felt real. It was, she said. The trial blends your mind with past lives. You lived as Commander Xenos of the Ember Wars, and now you carry his strength. Jaden tried to stand. His legs were weak, but his voice was steady. So what now? Alira stood and faced the far wall. A panel opened slowly, revealing a large vault full of strange weapons, armor, and one long red staff. Jaden stared. What is all this? Legacy gear, Alira replied. Left by those who passed before you. Choose what calls to you. Jaden walked forward, hand hovering over each weapon. But it was the red staff that pulled at him. He touched it, and it lit up, pulsing with life. He turned to Alira. I'm ready. She nodded. Then we return. The council will make their move soon. As they stepped into the transport chamber, Jaden glanced once more at the ancient vault. Whatever he had been before, that part of him was gone. Now, he wasn't just learning history. He was history, and the fire had only just begun. Jaden stood on the balcony of the observatory, staring out at the stars. He had changed, and he could feel it in his bones. The stars didn't look the same anymore. They weren't just beautiful. They were full of secrets, danger, and history. And he had begun to understand all of it. Behind him, the door opened quietly. Alira entered, her silver skin glowing faintly under the starlight. She walked beside him and stayed silent for a moment. Jaden finally asked, "Why did you really help me?" Alira looked up at the night sky. "Because someone once helped me too." Jaden turned to her. "That's not the whole truth." "No," she admitted, "it's not." She sat down on the bench and motioned for him to join her. He did. "There's something you must know, Jaden," she said. "Something not written in your academy books. Something hidden from Earth." Jaden leaned in. She continued. "A war is coming. Not between planets, not over resources, but over bloodlines. The ancient races, the ones who first shaped this galaxy, they left behind power, real power. And now, factions are rising to claim it. Jaden frowned. But what does that have to do with me? Elira met his eyes. Because humans were never supposed to be part of it. Jaden sat still. Elira went on. Thousands of years ago, Earth was locked out of galactic history. Its people were marked as too unstable, too emotional, too wild. But something changed. Your species evolved faster than anyone expected. And now, you're not just a part of this story. You might become its center. Jaden's voice was quiet. So that's why they're watching me. No, that's why. They're afraid of you. Jaden looked down at his hands. I didn't ask for this. I know, she said. But destiny never asks. It chooses. He laughed bitterly. That's not fair. It rarely is. Later that night, Elira took Jaden to the archives. It was a hidden room, far beneath the academy, older than any classroom, untouched by modern technology. The walls were lined with living crystals, glowing softly with memory. These hold forbidden knowledge, she whispered. Things the council doesn't want taught. She placed her hand on one of the crystals. It glowed brighter. A projection appeared in the air. It showed a galaxy map, ancient, chaotic. Fleets burned in the stars. Whole worlds exploded. And in the center of the storm was a symbol. A triangle with 3 burning stars. That's the mark of the Triarchs, Elira said. They were once the rulers of everything. But they vanished, left behind only whispers and ruins. And one other thing. She looked at Jaden. A weapon. Jaden's heart skipped. What kind of weapon? One that doesn't destroy planets, she said, but rewrites them. A device that can reshape minds, alter DNA, even change time itself. Jaden stepped back. And someone's looking for it? She nodded. Several factions. Some want to use it. Others want to bury it forever. And you? I want to stop them all. Jaden stared at the floating symbol. But why me? I'm not special. Elira shook her head. That's where you're wrong. The vault chose you. The trial accepted you. That red staff you took, it belonged to one of the last defenders of the galaxy, Commander Haven. Jaden blinked. But he died centuries ago. Exactly, she said. And now, his memories live in you. Jaden tried to understand. So, I'm becoming him? No, Elira said gently. You are still you. But you carry more than just your life now. You carry legacy. He walked toward the glowing projection. So what happens if I fail? Elira's voice turned cold. Then Earth burns, and maybe the galaxy too. Suddenly, an alarm blared through the academy. Red lights flashed. Emergency. Lockdown. Unauthorized energy detected in archive sector. Jaden's heart jumped. They found us. Elira shouted. She grabbed his arm. No more hiding. We move now. The crystals around them began to darken. The door behind them exploded open. 3 armored guards entered, council enforcers in full battle suits. Stand down, one of them barked. Jaden Cross, you are under arrest for illegal memory transfer and use of forbidden alien tech. Jaden stepped forward. I didn't steal anything. The guard raised his weapon. Then come quietly and explain it to the council. Jaden's eyes flared blue. Elira whispered, now is your time. Without thinking, Jaden raised his hand. The red staff in his grip unfolded from his belt, alive with power. The first blast of energy hit the wall beside him. Jaden spun, dodged, and disarmed the first enforcer with a fluid motion he shouldn't have known. But he did. The vault had trained him. The trial had prepared him. And now, the real war had begun. Asterisk smoke filled the hallway. The air buzzed with heat and warning sirens. Jaden's chest rose and fell, his breath sharp. In his hand, the red staff pulsed like a heartbeat, warm, alive, and hungry. The enforcers lay unconscious behind him. His body shook, not from fear, But from what he had just done, he hadn't fought them. Not really. He had outclassed them. With every movement, his body had responded faster than thought. His mind had acted like it had lived 100 battles. But it wasn't his experience, not truly. It came from the vault, from others, not from the dead. Alira grabbed his shoulder. "Jaden, we need to move. The council will send more." He nodded, still dazed. "How did I do that?" "You called on memory," she said. "Not just knowledge, but instinct, battle mind. And now, you understand why they fear you. They ran through the old tunnels. No alarms here, just silence and dust. Behind them, the academy locked down entire wings, sealing corridors with thick steel. Jaden and Alira were now fugitives. They reached an abandoned transit pod hidden under the ruins of an old observatory. Jaden slumped into the seat, the red staff still in his hand. Alira activated the controls. "We're going to the outpost on Titanus. It's a rebel science colony. Off-grid. They can hide us for now." Jaden stared out the window as the pod lifted off. Stars blinked past in silence. He whispered, "They called me a threat. Like I'm some kind of weapon." Alira looked at him. "You are." Jaden didn't reply. She continued, "The vault didn't just give you skills. It awakened something inside you. Humans have potential no other species understands. We thought you were slow, primitive, but now we see how wrong we were." Jaden clenched his jaw. "So this was your plan? To turn me into some kind of galactic soldier?" Alira shook her head. "No, my plan was to give you a choice. But once you took the first step, your path stopped being simple." He looked down at the red staff. "It speaks to me. Not with words. But I feel things, memories, pain, regret, a man's final breath, a child's scream. It's too much." Alira's eyes softened. "That's the price of power, Jaden. You carry more than yourself now. You carry those who came before you." When the pod landed, Titanus was dark and cold. The sky was filled with black clouds, and the ground was dusted with ash. But beneath the surface, in a hidden facility carved into a mountain, lights glowed faintly. The rebels greeted Alira with quiet respect. They looked at Jaden with awe and concern. "He's the one?" someone whispered. "The human that accessed the vault?" Alira nodded. "And survived." They took Jaden to a small chamber and ran silent scans on him. His blood no longer read as fully human. His brain waves were advanced, evolved. The medic spoke quietly. "His neural pattern matches Commander Haven's from 2 centuries ago." Jaden stood up fast. "What does that mean?" The medic hesitated. "It means you're no longer just Jaden Cross. You are a new version. A hybrid of yourself and the legacy you carry." Jaden backed away, shaking his head. "I didn't ask for this." Alira stepped forward. "But you accepted it when you took the staff, when you fought for more. And now, there is no turning back." Jaden looked down at his hands again. They didn't tremble this time, but they didn't feel like his own either. Later, he walked outside onto the cold balcony of the outpost. Titanus's twin moons hung above, glowing pale and silent. Behind him, a voice called out, "You're the human everyone's talking about." Jaden turned. A tall alien woman stood there, skin like green glass, eyes like twin moons. She wore simple armor and moved like a warrior. "I'm Lesari," she said. "Used to lead a rebel fleet. Now I fix broken weapons." Jaden said nothing. She walked closer. "We've been watching. Not just us. Factions across the galaxy. The Vault awakening. The Red Staff choosing the human. It's changing everything." Jaden frowned. "And what do they want?" Lesari tilted her head. "Some want to recruit you. Others want to destroy you. Me? I just want to see if you're strong enough to survive." Jaden narrowed his eyes. "Why?" "Because if you die," she said simply, then we're all doomed. That night, Jaden stared at his reflection in the window. The stars behind him blinked slowly. He no longer knew where his memories ended and the vaults began. He remembered flying ships he'd never seen, speaking languages he'd never learned, feeling emotions that weren't his. But one thing was clear. He had power now. And power always came with a price. As he turned to sleep, a message blinked onto the screen beside his bed. Urgent. Council forces en route. Estimated time to arrival 12 hours. Jaden stared at the screen. They were coming. And this time, they wouldn't just try to arrest him. They'd try to erase him forever. The sky over Titanus turned blood red as enemy ships entered the atmosphere. Giant council dreadnoughts hovered above the mountains, casting long shadows over the rebel outpost. The ground trembled, sirens blared. And deep underground, Jaden stood before a screen showing the incoming fleet. "They're not sending a warning," said Lissari grimly. "They're sending an army." Jaden didn't flinch. "Let them come." Behind him, Alira placed a hand on his shoulder. "They won't take prisoners this time. They'll wipe this place out, memory and all." Jaden nodded slowly. "Then we fight. But not just with weapons, with truth." Alira's brow lifted. "Truth?" Jaden turned to her, eyes glowing faint blue now. "They fear me because I changed. Because I learned faster than they thought possible. But this isn't just about me. It's about what humans can become. They're afraid of evolution." Alira's lips parted slightly. She understood now. Jaden faced the command console. "Patch me into their comms. I want to speak to the fleet." Lissari looked stunned. "You want to talk to the people coming to kill you?" "I want to give them a choice," he said. Minutes later, Jaden stood in front of a widescreen holo projector. His image was now being broadcast across the fleet above. Thousands of alien eyes were watching him. He stood tall in his battle-worn uniform, red staff across his back. His voice was calm, yet powerful. "I'm Jaden Cross, a human, a student. And yes, I touched Forbidden's knowledge. But not to destroy, only to understand. I was failing because your system wasn't built for me. For my kind, it was built to hold us back." He stepped forward. "I didn't steal anything. I was chosen by the Vault because I could carry what others couldn't. And if that frightens you, then maybe it's time you ask yourselves, why?" On the Council's lead ship, Admiral Vec growled. "Cut the feed." "No," said a younger officer. "We should hear him out." Jaden's voice rang again, louder. "I'm not your enemy. But if you attack this outpost, if you erase what I've become, you'll be proving what the galaxy has feared all along, that the Council only values control, not growth. And that the truth terrifies you." Inside the Titanus outpost, Lissari turned to Alira. "If he survives this, he's not just a student. He's going to start a movement." Alira smiled faintly. "He already has." Suddenly, the screen blinked. "Incoming message. Stand by." Jaden held his breath. Then a surprise, an old alien woman appeared on the screen. White robes. Glowing crown. One of the highest-ranking council elders. "You speak with fire, human," she said softly. "Too much, perhaps. But maybe we needed to hear it." Jaden's eyes narrowed. "Then call off the attack," she nodded. "Only if you hand over Alira. She broke our most ancient laws." Jaden looked at Alira, then back at the screen. "No," he said. "You want a scapegoat, not justice." The elder's eyes turned hard. "Then prepare for war." The next hour passed in silence. But every room in the outpost moved like a heart. Soldiers gearing up, engineers locking blast doors, medics preparing for the wounded. Everyone knew what was coming. Jaden stood alone in the chamber of the vault, staring at the crystal that had started it all. He placed his hand on it one final time. "I'm not doing this to win," he whispered. "I'm doing this so others don't have to fight like I did." The crystal glowed softly, and answered him. The red staff on his back pulsed with power, awakening not just past warriors, but new strength. His own. The sky cracked with the sound of landing troops. Dozens of transports dropped into the valley. The battle began. Jaden fought like a storm. His staff moved like fire, bending energy, redirecting plasma, disabling without killing. The rebels followed him. The outpost held strong. Even Lasari, the hard warrior, followed Jaden's orders without question. Above, more ships prepared to fire down orbital cannons. Alira looked up. They're going to burn everything. But before the blasts fell, something changed. Another fleet arrived, this one unmarked. Older ships, worn and scarred. A voice echoed across all channels. This is the Free Coalition. Stand down, Council. The galaxy is watching now. Jaden looked to the sky and smiled. The broadcast had worked. By nightfall, the Council had pulled back. Their attack stopped not from defeat, but from fear of losing public trust. Billions had seen the human boy who fought not with hate, but with truth. Inside the outpost, Jaden sat quietly, the red staff across his lap. Alira entered the room. It's over. For now, she said. Jaden looked up. They'll be back. Yes, but next time you won't be alone. He nodded. Do you regret it? She asked gently. Jaden paused, then shook his head. I was failing. But I didn't need answers. I needed someone to believe I could rise. Alira smiled. And now? Jaden stood, taller than before. Now I believe it too.